Chair lays out House Bill 4462 and recognizes Representative Meza to explain her bill and close us out with a bang. Come on, bring it home. Bring it home. No pressure. No pressure. That's right. Anchor, running the anchor leg.
But I didn't get to say good morning.
If you say good morning, you will have had a bad layout. At this point.
Okay, well, we won't
You
try.
will not get this bill voted out.
Okay, well, we won't do that then. Good evening, Chairman Frank, members of the committee, and with your permission, I'll lay out the bill from my seat here. Thank you for allowing me the privilege of introducing House Bill 4462 for your consideration. It's a little bit different from the other topics that we've discussed all day today, and so this one was brought to me by the disability community. It establishes a task force to study access to legal services for persons with disabilities. The task force will examine and make recommendations regarding availability of legal representation for persons with disabilities, the availability of advocacy and legal services for persons with disabilities, and the barriers to accessing legal services for persons with disabilities, including communication, financial, medical, and cognitive behaviors. One thing that we're still kind of is a little bit of a work in progress on this one is the composition of the task force. As we've heard in other testimony from the disability community, it's very important to them, the representation on the task force and who's there representing them. So we're still working on that. People with disabilities are constantly interacting with the legal system. They face discrimination, lack of services, non-compliance with federal and state laws, all of which require legal representation to sort out. Upon seeking representation, people with disabilities often face major challenges. On the front end, people with disabilities often face financial hardship, which prevents them from getting the best legal representation they can find. If they can afford representation, they have to find a lawyer who has experience working with the complex needs of someone with a disability. There could be a language barrier or an intellectual disability that prevents the lawyer from understanding the needs of a client, and many lawyers would opt not to take on that challenge. Our state currently does have legal services available to people with disabilities, but these groups are often underfunded and do not have enough people to service all of these cases. This task force would convene the stakeholders from across the disabled community, and they would provide recommendations on how our state can better meet the legal needs of people with disabilities. As a legal professional myself, I understand how important it is to provide proper legal counsel to all persons, especially those who are consistently marginalized. This task force will give us the information we need to serve this community, and I urge you to support it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I reserve the right to close.
You will certainly have it. Members, any questions for Representative Meza? Okay, thank you for bringing this to us. We'll now begin public testimony on House Bill 4462. The chair shows 6 people wanting to testify. Dennis Burrell, or Borrell?
Burrell, got it.
Burrell, all right. John Woodley, Richard Atkinson, and Joey Gidsig, I think. Actually, you know what? We'll just do 3 since we got 6. So Dennis Burrell, John Woodley, Richard Atkinson. And we'll go one at a time. So if you'd state your name, who you're with, and your position on the bill.
Yeah, Dennis Burrell, Coalition of Texans with Disabilities, for the bill, and I admire your stamina, committee members. It's very impressive. This is a real thing. So we get calls and emails all the time at our office from people with disabilities looking for legal help. And as Representative Meza mentioned,
Mr. Burrell, if you'd state your position on the bill, I know what it is, but I thought so.
Bill. Yeah, I should have announced it better.
It's all right. I should have heard it better.
You're doing amazingly well, all of you. So, as Representative Meza stated, people with disabilities are generally considered the lowest income demographic group in our society, so they're not likely to be able to go out and hire lawyers. So I thought I'd just give you a few examples of cases I've heard of where people have called me and wanted legal help. One was a lady who went to a used car lot to buy a van and was told that the van could be modified for a lift so she could transport her 2 aging parents, both of whom had disabilities. The van could, after all, when she took it to be modified, it could not be modified to have a lift installed. She sought to return the van. The used car dealer rejected the attempt to return the van and was essentially going to keep her money. That's one example. The second example I'll give is a divorced dad. The dad had a disability. His ex-wife was preventing their son from making visits to the dad, taking the position that his disability prevented him from caring for the son. He was looking for legal help. The third example I'll give you is a job-related deal. It was a person who acquired a disability, was off work for some time, was able to return to work, asked to get their job back, and for an accommodation, was told that that's not going to work, but there's another job over here. If you take a big cut in pay, we'll do something for you. So those are the kinds of things. So they're very much the kinds of legal interactions you hear about from many other people, but people with disabilities have other factors that come into play. And with that, I'll just answer any questions you may have.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate your patience. You had staying here all day as well. It is obviously an important issue. Members, any questions for Mr. Burrell? All right, thank you very much. Mr. Woodley, and I appreciate you have been here all day as well. Have you not? Yeah. So, can you hear me okay?
I'm deaf. I'm doing the best I can without captioning. So, okay. I'm John Woodley. I'm an advocate for disability access. I'm for the bill, and I would like to say that yes, people with disabilities are encountering a lot of barriers in trying to get legal aid, legal representation. If we try to get an attorney, they want the whole retainer up front. They won't allow us to make payment for the retainer. A lot of them don't take contingency cases. So we have to look to other areas to try to get legal representation or legal assistance. So if we contact the State of Texas Protection and Advocacy Group, which is Disability Rights Texas, they say they don't have any resources to help you because they get so many complaints. I've actually never had any assistance from any of the nonprofits that are supposed to be assisting people. If you go to a legal aid clinic, a legal aid group, they may or may not cover your area of, you have to meet the income requirements, and they may or may not cover or help you file a case if you need that. If you go to a legal clinic, there's no guarantee that you're going to encounter an attorney within the 15-20 minute time frame that you have to talk to them, that they even understand your area of concern. And they meet a very limited time. Some are once a month, some are once a week. If you want to meet more often, you may have to leave the city to go to another legal clinic that's in another city. Some people there's a lot of cases like he mentioned, and there's also cases with housing and where housing, they discriminate you because you need a reasonable accommodation, you need to get that resolved. So if you have any questions, feel free to answer. I'll try to understand the best I can.
Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony. Members, any questions? Okay. Thank you very much for your testimony. Chair calls Joey Gidseg, Syed Hassan, and Cindy Whitaker, and I show nobody else signed up to testify. Let me try Richard Atkinson one more time. Okay, and we're going to go one at a time, so if you'll state your name, who you're with, and your position on the bill, and you can begin.
I always have to test. Okay, it's working. Okay. So, good evening, almost morning, Chairman Frank. My name is Joey Gitzig, and I represent the Texas Democrats with Disabilities. I am the chair, and I am very much for 4462 and very full of gratitude to Representative Meza for filing it and for understanding how essential and important it is for Texans that Texas seems to have forgotten are here and are 1 in 5, you know. We exist, we're here. So here's the thing. Somehow in my role as chair, I have gotten lots of requests for legal aid and heard about so many countless instances where people are continuously having their rights violated, and I know it too. I mean, I've been there, and justice delayed is justice denied, right? So I did. I say, okay, Disability Rights Texas, it helped me after 1 year of suffering in college. I graduated because of them. Yeah, after a year of extreme trauma and discrimination, they sent a lawyer to say, hey, give this person their accommodations. I did graduate, though. I survived, seriously. But the trauma is still there. The point is that we have these federal rights, but without access to legal aid, we can't access those rights. So do we have rights at all? I would wager that we don't, and I would think, you know, I drew this little cartoon because that's helpful. Right? You, what are you going to do about it? And that's the point, right? Because if we don't have access to legal aid, what are we going to do about it? What are we going to do? Nothing. So we make easy targets and people take it out on us, and no one's going to stop them. Y'all aren't. I can't. I don't even want to recommend that people go try to get these legal aid services from the existing providers, because if they're not going to get help, that's too much to ask that they do. That's traumatic already. So that's one beep. So I have like in a minute or something like that?
30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. So basically there's a reason why we have 4 times the number of people incarcerated that we do in the general population, people with disabilities, because when you can't access services, what happens? You wind up in jail or you wind up on the streets. That's very expensive, y'all. If you care about money, you care about streamlining services and efficiency and cutting bureaucracy, which I know you do, Chairman Frank, you should really care about this task force and what it will do and closing these gaps, and you should pass this bill out of this committee and let's try to get something to work. That would be great. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you. Members, any questions? Great job.
Yes.
State your name, who you're with, and your
I'm
position.
Cindy Whitaker, and I'm with Texas Advocates. And I'm a person with mental disabilities, and I live in Austin, Texas. And my experience with the law,
And your position on the bill?
I'm for the bill.
I thought so. Thank
Yes,
you.
because in January of 2015, I experienced a psychiatric breakdown while dining at a McDonald's. I had been feeling kind of bad for several days because of my mental illness before, and just wanted to go out and eat in peace. Another consumer in the restaurant said, well, she didn't pay for her meal. And when I clearly paid for it, I even showed my receipt to prove it, A few minutes later, the police arrived and said they took me to jail. I ended up in what they call city jail for a few days and was transferred to Del Valley Correctional Facility for about a month and a half. And while I was there, the guards harassed me and said that people with disabilities should be locked up and never been seen or heard. I could not get an attorney because they said I would have to do it myself on my own, and then they set a bond for me, but I was denied because of my income. I was on Social Security, so that said I don't qualify. So after about a month in jail, another inmate who I thank God she was there, she helped me to do paperwork, and she got me an attorney with someone that represents people with mental illness. And I was finally released from jail after about a month and a half. I missed like 2 months of my Social Security payment and my Medicaid, which made resuming normal life harder than it should have been. So if the HB 4462 would have been in play when I was going through the legal system, my experience could have been much different. I would have probably gotten the services I needed much sooner and would have not have been in jail as long as I was. So please support HB Bill 4462 and help others like me in their time of need. Any questions?
Yeah, that's my line. You did good. You did great. I'm just kidding. Members, any questions? All right, thank you very much. That was an awesome testimony. Yep, I think that's it in terms of, we show nobody else wishing to testify, so I will ask, is there anyone else here who wishes to testify on, for, or against House Bill 4462? Yeah, and we'll show him for the bill, and there's a number of other people for the bill. We'll show him for the bill, not testifying. Is there anyone else wishing to testify on, for, or against House Bill 4462? See. Yeah.
I just want to thank these two witnesses. I cannot think of two better witnesses for us to end today's testimony on. Y'all did an outstanding job. I appreciate your passion and your stamina and hanging out here with us. And trust me, your testimony was powerful, and we did hear it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
And
well
we'd
said.
appreciate your vote
For
it.
Well
Thank
said.
you.
For it.
Thank
All right.
you.
Seeing none, no one else wishing to testify. Seeing none, public testimony is closed, and the chair recognizes Representative Meza to close on House Bill 4462.
Thank you, Chairman. I think they were much more articulate than I was in laying out the bill. So I'm grateful for such great witnesses. Thank you. Thank you all for coming out and explaining why this bill was brought to me to present. And like Representative Clardy said, they did such a great job in being witnesses. They probably did a better job than what I did in laying out the bill. So thank you again for giving me the opportunity to lay out this bill. And with that, I close.
If there's no objection, House Bill 4462 will be left pending. The chair definitely hears no objection. House Bill 4462 is left pending without objection. Wow. Thank you all, to all the witnesses and that are gone, and audience members for being here. And man, committee, that was awesome. Everybody.